Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog. The man who loves UFOs, but preferred these identified flying objects instead.
You know, there was a time when we could laugh at black jokes and absolutely not feel guilty about it. Even when Richard Donner made Lethal Weapon 2 back in 1989.
Oh, come on, we're back. We're bad. You're black. I'm mad. Come on, let's go.
Come on. Oh, shit.
Hey, listen. If we're going, shouldn't I have a gun?
No!
But when you claim that black people invented Stonehenge, and maybe they also found out the theory of relativity instead of Sir Isaac Newton. I think he was a sir, but if he's not, he is now. It only gets so much funnier. I have to say to myself, is this a troll? Am I being mocked? Am I being memed? But seriously, this article from Fandom Pulse will have you laughing from now until the end of time, because honestly,
Watch this space.
Yes, hallelujah, it's the video show. And now, the man the BBC calls
Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog.
I talk about leaning into the meme quite a lot, but honestly, I'm not quite sure at this stage if this is even actually what it's meant to be. So courtesy of the Fandom Pulse, new Black history book publishes lies such as the black folks built Stonehenge and black Romans introducing Christianity to Britain. Of course they did, because me and my friend have had a conversation about this off screen where he says, why is it that when white folks have established things that black folks are now feeling left out because we've not been recognized for anything? Like I even said to my mum yesterday, how many successful black folks do you see as business people? How come you got Elon Musk? How come you got Steve Jobs? How come there was prominent people in the business that we know it as today, in the world that we know it as today, are mostly all white? I've got no problem with that. They're just very clever people at the end of the day, rather than their skin color. But the facts have to be pointed out here, folks, that when you get a book like this, which I'm almost tempted to buy this actually, just to see how ridiculous it is. But I guess now, again, even the publishing industry is leaning into DEI and ESG because I think it's a model that's going to sell their books, and ironically won't. It's definitely damaging video games and comic books as we know it. And don't forget, folks, I don't know if you know this fact, but Helldivers is being turned into a movie by Netflix, headlined by Alex Garland, the same man who gave you Ex Machina back in the day, which I thought was an okay film, and that ridiculous movie with Natalie Portman where they're all stranded. All these girls are stranded in an island with aliens. I forgot what it was called, but that was a fucking awful movie. So if he's headlining this Helldivers movie, it's going to be a disaster because Netflix just consumed DEI and ESG like it's yesterday's stale offerings from the fridge. The book industry has become a cesspool of racism against white people in the last several years. And yet there was that story about James Bond, or the author of a James Bond novel, who's written another kind of 007 book, where again the main baddie of that story is a terrible middle-aged white man. It's so awful. I covered it on one of my videos here, funny enough. On the flip side, books featuring black characters and history are fast-tracked, especially if they're written by what they are called their own voices, y'all. Meaning a black person writing about black topics, because if you're a white person writing about black topics, you gotta get out now. You go through the door, y'all. Out. Don't come back until you have some white coffee, you hear me? Or make that black, actually. Now, a history book, Brilliant Black British History, was exposed on X by the account History Hive as completely making up black history as a demonstration of how corrupt the publishing industry has become. He posted along with the cover, this book claims that black people built Stonehenge. This might be amusing, were it not an award-winning work recommended for every classroom. Here's a selection of absurdities it presents. So, Antinuki Kingsley Nabechi, I don't know if that's the author. I wish I had this book when I was a kid. Says Joseph Collier, Children's Laureate. Okay, whatever. Brilliant black British history. Notice how black is in big capital letters, because if it was in black font, you wouldn't be able to see it, would you? Black people have inhabited Britain for longer than whites. Oh, that story again, that argument as old as time began, because apparently Adam and Eve were actually Black Adam and Black Eve, I suppose, if you want to believe that nonsense. Naturally, therefore, they built Stonehenge. What is the basis for this claim, he continued. So was Sherlock Holmes a black dude? Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, was he black as well? About 12,000 years ago, kids, modern humans settled in Britain. They were black. Well, you're speaking about them in the past tense because obviously black folks are still around today, like all Western Europeans in those days. Except when you think about Europeans, you think of them as Caucasian. You never sit there and think, gee, Ma, do we have any black Europeans that walk around Scandinavian territories? Do let me know in the comments below. You know what I do find amusing, folks? When they had those commercials back in the 90s where you had an Indian family, but they were born and raised in Scotland and they were speaking with a Scottish accent. I thought those were hysterical, and I still to this day I do find it very amusing when you meet a person of colour, but they come from Wales or Scotland or Ireland, but they're talking with the Irish accent like that, and they call themselves a brown off paddy.
Look at this! One contradiction eating another!
What do you mean?
You're Scotch Korean. You don't make a wee bit of sense. And neither does Starburst.
Cheddar Man, an ancient Briton whose skeleton was discovered in a cave. Oh, was it really? Was recently reconstructed. His skin was described as, wait for it, of a dark hue or as dark as can be. Sometimes like me when I've stayed out in the sun far too long, as confirmed by scientists. Surely they could not be mistaken. And that's Cheddar Man, who looks like Rick James. How dare you insult that musical maestro?
That girl is pretty wild now.
The Cheddar Man is the nickname for the remains of a prehistoric human male discovered in Cheddar Gorge, Somerset, England, 1903. He's one of the oldest complete human skeletons found in Britain, dating back, not black, to the Mesolithic period, approximately 10,000 years ago. So what facts do we have about him? He lived around 7100 BCE. And what does his appearance have? Was he a black dude? Physical appearance 2018 advanced DNA analytics or analysis was concluded on Cheddar Man's remains, revealing surprising insight about his physical traits. He likely had dark to black skin, he had blue eyes, he had dark curly hair. Okay, is that true? Now the dark to black skin could be degeneration. That's what I think it might be, right? Nothing to do with race, but of course, the article here that claims it's all about race is so funny. Oh my gosh. I normally don't talk about stuff like this on my channel, but it's so funny. I actually had to... This book is a joke. It's an absolute joke. They expect people like me to go and rage and rant about this. Oh, how dare they? No. Make stuff like this because it just gives me an excuse to monetize off your dumb ass and just to laugh at how ridiculous this actually is. So I have no problem when this stuff is done, because honestly, it is refreshingly foolish what we see before our very eyes, no, very thighs. Oh, we had black Romans, folks. So Julius Caesar was a black man. So again, Denzel Washington in Gladiator 2 obviously knows something that we don't. Or then again, Ridley Scott is off his complete rocker these days and can't make a decent film, then why should I even take that seriously anymore? The Romans therefore would have much preferred, rather than the rainy isles, to conquer the bountiful lands of Africa. However, when stopped by Nubian warrior queen, who was Cleopatra from that Netflix documentary,
I remember my grandmother saying to me, I don't care what they tell you in school, Cleopatra was black.
Developed a nasty coke habit because she loved the way it made her feel.
they turned with great reluctance to the white hope of Britain. Great Britain. This reminds me of Kingdom Come 2 Deliverance, how they talked about diversities, and Daniel Vavra, the headline man of Warhorse Game Studios, just said, nah, bro, it's nothing to do with that at all. We just got different diversities for different reasons altogether. So there you have it, folks. A very amusing anecdote from yours truly. And I'm pretty sure a lot of my other content creator alumni are going to be covering this story. It is just so funny to behold, honestly. I almost had a septum watching that dialogue unfold before my very eyes. Who would have guessed the Cheddar Man? And just by his very name, you wouldn't think he was a black dude, would you? He might actually be a brother from another mother from 7100 BCE. But on that one, folks, if you were me and if I were you, you should definitely return for the next video.
Starburst is a solid, yet juicy, like a liquid.
You're right.
Of course I'm right. Look, there's another contradiction. It's Timmy, the albino lifeguard. Hey, Timmy, grab a Starburst!
Tune in next time, Space Freaks, and hear your doobry go ping in the next gripping installment of
Kung Fu Hot Dog.